People think trauma is an event, and an event can be traumatic in the sense that it can really be scary. It can take us off guard. It can leave us feeling unsafe, insecure. But it is my mission for people to understand that event comes and goes. It ends in either a hot minute or however long the event lasts. But when it is still impacting you, when your nervous system has been adjusted in such a way and you've had to adapt in such a way that that particular experience is still influencing the way that you navigate life, or the way that you see yourself, or the way that you interact with other people, that's in a negative way or in a self-limiting way, that's the trauma. If I'm working with a group of people and they say they had a horrible experience in childhood, but that was 30 years ago, and it's influencing how they relate to their family members today, that's the trauma. Trauma is not anything other than an unhealed wound. We can't change the experience, but we can actually still heal the wound. So in the terms of trauma, people like to talk about this concept of like big T trauma and little t trauma. And I understand why they categorize it that way, but it's not really my way of doing it, because I see every experience as being impactful. So when I talk about something like a paper cut laceration, it's something that came to me because when I would work with clients that didn't have this very overt, very clear, very kind of in your face, it's obvious that there was a traumatic experience going on, but I'm seeing them being influenced and impacted the same way as my clients who have had this very overt, very in your face kind of experience. The way I saw it is when you have these big overt experiences, say you survived a natural disaster, or you witnessed a really significant crime, or you were physically beaten or sexually assaulted, and and anybody else that looked at it would be like, wow, that's really traumatic. But when we have what I like to call this mist of dysfunction, which is just this constancy and this chronic pervasive stress that leaves you feeling unseen, unheard, unimportant, insignificant, unsafe, but it's not overt, it's kind of covert. To me, it's like you don't have this gaping wound that everybody sees. You have a paper cut. When I get a paper cut on my hand, 90% of the time, I don't even know I have it until I'm cooking and some salt gets into it or some lemon gets into it. And then I look down and I say, oh my gosh, look at that. I actually have like this cut, and it hurts. It hurts a lot when you get acid and salt into a paper cut. So when I'm working with clients, some of what I see is hundreds of paper cuts internally on their soul, on their heart space, things that really wounded them at the core, but nobody can see it because it was so covert. And in many ways, it might have actually been the norm of either their society or their culture or their community or their family system. And so nobody's seeing it as impactful. And so that's what I see as a paper cut laceration. I see these, and I see it a lot, people coming to me with these wounds that are not, you can't see it on the surface. They're so small, like a paper cut, but they're equally impactful. We have something known as explicit memory, and we have something known as implicit memory. Explicit memory is something that you can recall with language, that you can give back to me. So it's a memory of an event that happened or something that occurred that you can relay back to me with language. We don't always have that. Sometimes we get into a room and there's something about that room that reminds us of something, but we don't have language to it, but we feel it. We feel a pit in our stomach. We feel a tingling in our chest. We feel the hair in our arms go up. Implicit memory is the type of memory where it's a sensation, it's a feeling. It's a memory in the body, but it's not something that you can give language to. When I have a list of 27 things that people don't understand are trauma responses that are actually unresolved trauma responses. Some of those things are like brain fog or anxiety, or there are physical reactions like constantly breaking out in hives or having chronic fatigue, having chronic illness, chronic inflammation. We see things like suicidality. We see things like OCD, where people may not understand that this is related back to an event that occurred or a series of events that occurred, which is what I see a lot of, where there's not language to it. It's a symptom of. I think what I'm most passionate about being a trauma care practitioner is generating awareness and really laying the framework of what trauma really is in layman's terms. And one of the things that I've been getting feedback on a lot, especially from therapists, is that I have a very succinct but unique way of making this very understandable. And so I think the first step is actually understanding how our lived experiences have impacted us in a way that we did not understand. We are the first gaslighters in many ways. When we were growing up, if we were not allowed to share that an experience was impacting us, and we were kind of told to fluff it off or to let it go, we then in turn almost gaslit ourselves and said things like, it wasn't that big of a deal, so it really shouldn't be bothering me. I had clothes on my back, I had food on my table, I had the ability to have a home. Like, what do I have to complain about? And so we actually diminish our own experience for ourselves. But then decades later, we don't understand why we're stuck. So my mission and the reason why I have my Instagram and I have my podcast and I have my YouTube channel and I'm developing this course is because my goal is to generate awareness in a one-to-many environment, so more people can have the awareness and the understanding that their lived experiences actually were as impactful as their nervous system is telling them it is. If this resonates with you and you're ready to explore this in a safe container, be sure to join the waitlist for the Calm Code. You can click the link in the description or the first pinned comment to learn more. Or you can go to my website, flipyourmindset.com/the Calm Code.